As a games company, I love Nintendo. I've been a fan of their games for my whole life. However, as a corporation, they've made some very questionable decisions throughout their lifespan. And by far, one of the most controversial things they've done is with their online services. I think it's fair to say that Nintendo Switch Online hasn't exactly revolutionized the gaming industry. It's not exactly well received with a good chunk of the fan base. However, it does have over 36 million subscribers as of September 2022. That means Nintendo must be doing things right to have it be that popular. But today, I'd like to discuss the biggest problems I have with NSO as a feature, and why I don't think this is a good business practice for customers in the long run. These are the reasons that Nintendo Switch Online fundamentally bothers me. When Nintendo first started including online functionality with Nintendo Wi-Fi connection back in the Wii and DS era, the feature was totally free. All you had to pay for was the games themselves, and Nintendo Wi-Fi came as an added feature to those games. The quality of said online varied with each game, but at least they weren't charging extra for it. The Wii U and 3DS era was largely the same. Even though Nintendo retired their Wi-Fi connection service and moved to the Nintendo Network, online functionality was still free with games like Smash 4, Splatoon, and the Pokemon 3DS games. But starting with the Switch, now they're charging a recurring subscription fee to give you the same basic functionality that was previously free. The Nintendo bigwigs realize that they can charge extra for a service that is pretty essential in today's internet-saturated world. Those 36 million subscribers have resulted in a lot of revenue for Nintendo. I don't like this because now Nintendo has every reason to charge for online services on every console they make in the future as well. I don't see much of a reason to believe otherwise at this point. Back when the Wii and DS were the current Nintendo systems, Nintendo introduced a little service called the Virtual Console. It was a way for players to purchase games from older Nintendo consoles on their Wii and be able to keep them forever. It was a massively convenient way to have games from multiple systems all gathered in one console, and that was on top of the backwards compatibility that the Wii already had with the GameCube. The Virtual Console was also included with the Wii U and 3DS systems. Just like before, the Virtual Console was designed to let users buy and keep games from multiple older consoles in a single device, just by purchasing them from an online store. That's all you needed to do. And it was convenient. Unfortunately, the Wii U and 3DS eShops are being completely shut down on March 27, 2023. After that, Nintendo Switch Online subscriptions will be the only way to legally access Nintendo's catalog of older games. Even worse, you have to pay higher recurring fees to access a larger catalog of games from more systems. Sure, the expansion pack has gotten more and more content added since its introduction, but $50 per year still feels like a high price. You can't even buy the games individually anymore. You can only rent them out with your subscription fee. That's something I'll get to in a minute or two. As a result of NSO being the only way for current Nintendo users to play their old games, this has given Nintendo the chance to treat announcing old consoles coming to NSO as big newsworthy headlines in their Nintendo Directs. It's a good way to generate hype from fans, sure, but it's also a very insincere one. It really bugs me to see Nintendo announcing things like Earthbound being added to Switch Online and treating them as highlights of their Nintendo Directs, mostly because those games were already available on previous systems' virtual consoles. This shows that Nintendo control the hype and excitement by time-gating and paywalling their older games behind a subscription fee every few months. It feels off to me that they treat these decades-old games as exciting new experiences to look forward to, just because NSO is now the only legal way to play them. The main trade-off between the online subscription fee and buying games individually is that the subscription can give you immediate, but temporary, access to all the games in the catalog. Or, you can pay one fee for one game and keep that game for as long as you want. Keeping the games you buy forever is more convenient in the long run, because you don't have to keep paying money just to access it from online servers. Either way, you're still giving your money to Nintendo, assuming you're not buying games secondhand. But if you go with the subscription fee model, that fee only gives you temporary access to all the games. Once your subscription expires, you lose the ability to play any of them. You don't get to keep any of the games because you didn't actually buy them. You just rented them out with your subscription. It would be better if you at least had the choice between the subscription fee or buying the games individually. But you don't have that option. Now, the Nintendo Switch Online subscription fee is your only option. This all leads into my ultimate point. What will happen once Nintendo Switch Online goes permanently offline? Preservation of games from older consoles is very important. That's why pirate websites exist, and keep ROMs of older games intact for people to download and play for themselves at their convenience. That's the key word. Convenience. Nintendo certainly won't allow players to conveniently buy and keep their older games at reasonable prices from now on, now that NSO locks everything behind a recurring paywall. What happens 10 or more years down the line when NSO inevitably gets shut down just like Nintendo Wi-Fi connection was? How will Nintendo let players access their older games then? The Switch is already 6 years old at this point, so their next console could easily come out next year, or the year after that. At least the next Nintendo console seems to be keeping Switch Online, if recently leaked documents are to be believed. But what about after that? Unless more and more people resort to emulating these older games, the players will forever be at the mercy of game companies and the official subscription services these companies provide, as they squeeze more and more money out of players. This is not a good thing in the long term. Only being able to play games on a time limit where you lose access to said games once the time limit expires is the exact opposite of convenience. That idea is just not fun to me, and isn't the whole point of playing games to have fun? That's what I've always liked about Nintendo. Their games and consoles are all about having fun, and evoking joy and happiness with their stories and gameplay in ways that no other company does. But their handling of their online services does not paint a good picture of their future consoles, and how they'll handle giving access to older consoles' games. I guess as long as emulation and PCs exist, there will always be a way to play these older games without paying exorbitant prices for them. I just wish the actual game companies like Nintendo wouldn't nickel and dime players for temporary access to all of their older games. Time will tell what Nintendo chooses to do with their future consoles and their online services. I can only hope that their next consoles are more consumer-friendly with how people can access their older games, and even DLC for their current games. But with how successful Nintendo Switch Online has become, I just don't see that happening. Maybe this whole video is just shouting into the void and won't actually change anything over at Nintendo headquarters, but I would rather shout into the void than not say anything at all. At the very least, this video is intended to be one more voice, advocating for legal and consumer-friendly ways to play retro games without eventually taking them away. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll support my future videos too. See you next time.